Oh. I keep forgetting that it's going to come through. Are you okay? All right, let the animals do their thing. You want to come up here and sit up here? All right. Okay. Gunther, Arthur, I need some space. All right. So I have a lot to say. I've been trying to understand my own artistic process, and I definitely need to express something. And I don't always know what that is. And so when I was younger and I had a lot of issues, it was much easier for me to make art because I could just like make it about my love life or about what was going on with my sexuality or my spiritual explorations, and it really worked for that. Like I did expressive arts in my 40s, and it was really deeply healing, and and some of those processes showed up in my work. So like a lot of the archetypes that I worked with, like the rabbit or the stag woman or what was the other one? It seemed like the horsewoman. Like those came, like, well, horsewoman kind of came from like very indirectly from dreams that I had, and stag woman came from an expressive arts activity I did at the San Diego Expressive Arts Institute. And the rabbit just kind of came from my familiarity with that way of working. And those were really powerful archetypes that I used in my art for many years. And now when I try to use them, it's like putting on a miniskirt, at my age. Like, those aren't quite... I don't have a relationship with those symbols anymore. And I've been really struggling to try to find new ones and to just kind of open up my way of working. And so I spent a few years just trying to open myself up to working non-representationally. Because when I just start making and there's no recognizable imagery, a lot of those thoughts don't come up, and I'm just enjoying the color. I'm just enjoying the mark making, and I totally understand why people enjoy making abstract art. It is very enjoyable, and I can just be in that zone, and then it gets to this point where I'm kind of like, I feel done. It's like it feels very much like waking up when you wake up very gently, and you're kind of, it's like you've just been left on the shore. And I'll have that moment where I'll just be like, oh, this feels done. And then I will, not done, but I'm done with the moment of starting this. And that is an interesting moment, because I feel like that is the moment when I am defining my artistic intentions. That's when we all, like, it's easy to start a piece. It's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but you can be very playful and experimental and wild, and you don't have to care when you're activating the page, when you're just like colors, stuff. And then you have something that you're gonna work with. And if you're working abstractly, then you move into, well, now I'm going to resolve this composition. And I'd love to hear from abstract artists on this, but my experience of that is that then it is design. I'm moving into design mode, and I'm thinking about I'm thinking about composition. And for me, that is not expressive. There's no, like, the expressive part is over, and now it's just resolving it. And it's almost like the meaning is a distraction, if there even was any meaning. Like, a lot of times there's no meaning. I've been designing the whole time. I've just been designing in a loose way, playing with color. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just, like, I find that I just can't find meaning in that process. And I never have been able to. And it's frustrating because it's enjoyable. But if it doesn't mean anything to me, then I don't know what to do with it. And so that's just been my quandary. And so I thought, well, maybe you're trying to force meaning on it, and you need to leave it alone, and maybe do some visual analysis of it later. And that's helpful. But still, when I look at it, it just doesn't feel done to me when it's abstract. And that's one of the things that defines me as an artist, is that I'm not an abstract artist. I don't know, like, I feel like obligated, like, at your age you should be an abstract artist, but I'm just not. And a lot of times what I then want to do is to move into the image generation part, where, and so this was easy when I was younger because I had these archetypes I was working with. And so I could work with this rabbit, or I could work with horsewoman, or I could work with stag woman, and those had a lot of meaning to me. And putting them in these vague artistic situations and deciding how they were going to be, like, that had a lot of meaning for me. And I don't have that now. And I've just been, like, trying to stop forcing it, and to just kind of let things come out. And it's been all over the place. And so that's one of the thoughts that I have been having. Like, I was imagining this morning, like, okay, well, so I'll show you what I made last night. I already posted this. You probably have already seen it. These two little characters. And, that totally looks like a clown, like some creepy clown. And, egghead fairy thing. I don't know what this is. But, and so as I was making it, it was like, I was having these thoughts, well, how are you going to fit in? How are you going to fit into my art? What is this? Now I have to make 10 of them in order for it to be a series. Like, all of these, like, thoughts, and it's like, wow, this is not the time. I'm trying to let things out. So, like, leave me alone. I'm not ready. It takes the time that it takes. I so much want to have, like, some sort of consistency in my work. It bothers me when everything is a different size and all these different materials and all these, I think I'm pretty consistent with certain colors, but sometimes you're not ready. So there's just this moment where, here I have this abstract thing where I've activated the page, and rather than going into resolving the composition, I go into what wants to emerge from this. And sometimes it's pareidolia, where I'm looking at the patterns and I'm letting something come out of that. And sometimes I just start drawing a face. I just start drawing eyes, and then something comes forward. And I have feelings about that. Like, it's like some sort of, oh, you're drawing that face again. Oh, that face again. And so for a while I stopped drawing faces, because it gives a lot of like now it's this thing, this. And I think that's also why I drew animals a lot, was like, I hate, like, oh, so what face do I, it's like, if I try to make this a beautiful face, I don't want that. I'm so sick of seeing beauty all over the place. I want it to be beautiful, but I want it to be something else too. And so when I try to make something else, then it gets creepy. And so that's frustrating. I can't seem to find like, is there a third access that I'm not seeing? So yes. So I made these yesterday, and they're creepy. They're whimsical, and I hate whimsy. But this is what's coming forth for me now. And I had this thought, like, that someone's going to look at this and they're going to be like, I don't want that in my house. I don't want that on my wall. I don't want to look at that. And I said, well, I didn't make it for your wall. I made it for my soul. And I thought, that's such a good line. I didn't make it for your wall. I made it for my soul, or your soul. I don't know. And then I look at this and I'm like, but I don't, like, I'm sorry. I love you too. I just don't know yet what direction this is going in. Here they are. They're emerging from the fog. Because I also have, and it's not done yet, so it might be kind of hard to see, but I have a lot of these, like, female figures, and it looks like they're wearing, like, a long cloak. And I know a lot of that is that I am not interested in drawing bodies right now, and I really like texture and pattern, so I really like the cloak thing, but I'm not sure about them yet. But I wrote, the body is not interesting. I'm not interested in bodies right now. I'm post-body. So yes, so I am not making these for your wall. I am making them for my soul. They are breadcrumbs leading me somewhere. I'm interested in where it's going. And I like the, like, I was writing about this one. I teach high school, so I'm around awkward teenagers all the time, and I forget that they have all of this stuff going on in their brains. And I think that's part of why I'm always doing, like, portraits, because I'm looking at school pictures all the time, like when I'm taking attendance, and so there is this kind of school portrait thing. And I like awkwardness in portraits. I like the in school portraits, I like what comes out in those moments, and the side of my students that it captures, and knowing that they're like, oh my God, I hate that picture so much. That's not how I see myself. And it's not all of them, it's just this awkward moment. And then some of them nail it, whatever. So, but that school portrait format, I think I enjoy. And so this did seem, I was just kind of writing about that. I'm not going to read what I wrote, but just that, like, there's that portrait of a little boy by Marlene Dumas, where he's just angry. Like, he looks like a very intelligent 45-year-old trapped in, like, a 8-year-old body. And I like that vibe. So I don't know where I'm going with anything yet. So these don't have meaning to me, but they're much more interesting to me than if I had just stayed abstract. They feel more me, And I what I want to do is to be on their side, be on my own side. This is what's emerging. And, like there is something to, I'm sorry, I'm talking so much. But there is something to overcoming your artistic urges that are not leading you in a direction, like training yourself, like, oh, I always make that move, I always do that thing, and then and it feels good and safe at the time, a way of managing my artistic anxiety, which is a whole other thing. And so it is good to be like, I'm not going to manage my anxiety with that. This is something that I learned from the Cold Wax Academy that was really helpful, that sometimes we do things just because we're feeling anxious, and it's not really going to get us the result that we want, but it feels good in the moment. And I don't know how to what to think of that, because as an expressive arts person, maybe you need to soothe your anxiety, like if you're being process oriented, not really worrying about the result, then you're going to do the thing that makes you feel better. But if you're concerned about that wall and what's going on that wall, then sometimes you do need to deliberately not follow those particular urges, and to do something else. And I think that's kind of like my growing edge right now, is the wall or the soul. Bye.